America's North by South is about a broad view of the Americas, right, and challenging hegemonic perspectives on the Americas. By North, we mean European, Western, US perspectives. By South, we're looking at non-European, non-Western, indigenous, Latin American perspectives.
It's a play on the notion that there's this separation between the North and the South America. And it's a questioning of that separation, because that separation speaks of a history of colonialism, a history of slavery, a history of racism that takes place in North America, takes place in South America, and then speaks of a history in which North America becomes the oppressor of South America as well. So there's an internal colonialism on the North and the South, and then there's an imperialism of the North upon the South.
I think the kind of student who would benefit from the cluster and really enjoy the cluster is the kind of student who likes to learn things that just absolutely challenge that which they've been brought up with, right? So learning different things, for example, in the Texas public school system, you learn a certain kind of knowledge and information. When we come to Southwestern, right, the students think about these knowledges that they've obtained, but we also push them to think a little bit beyond that, right? So if we think about the civil rights movement, the majority of my students don't know that a Mexican-American civil rights movement ever existed. Well, it was huge, especially within Texas. Those are the kinds of things that we want to encourage upon the students, right? To want to question, to want to know more, whether it be about political, economic, spiritual, artistic practices and beliefs, ideologies within the Americas, broadly speaking, right? Or the kinds of spiritualities, economics, artistic expressions that question and challenge authority, that help people to understand where they came from. I think that's another thing that will come out of these kinds of classes, that students not only have an appreciation for the diversity of experiences within the Americas, but their own.
Music is something that all cultures in the Americas share, and it's something that we can use to understand what it means to be either North American, South American, African American, Latino American. All of those identities, Mexican American, have their own unique musical cultures that help to define what it means for those subsets of Americans to define their own culture. And music can also, as somebody who makes music and participates in music, we can explore other cultures and this idea of otherness through the music making process in a more profound way because of the immersive quality of music making.
I want students to understand that they need to think about the American experience as an experience that's not informed by platitudes. So I want them to not, go the easy route and to say, we went through all of these, hardships, but we can come together and be happy now and, exist in this easy harmony. I actually think that there's something productive about moments of conflict. There can be something productive about engaging in a difficult conversation that might bring to light truths that have been buried. And I think the point of that is not to become so mired in all of that you become depressed or uncertain about how to move forward. I think that there is a kind of therapeutic potential that could be involved in having these kinds of moments of conflict.
What is the ideal student for this kind of paideia? The ideal student for any kind of paideia is a student who's curious about themselves and the world around them. I think for this one in particular, I think a student who has a sort of deep commitment to or passion for thinking about questioning answers, right, more than answering questions, and for exploring the world around them, but also that as a vehicle for exploring themselves and their sense of identity, who they are and what they're about and who they want to be. And doing that in a setting, in a community setting, in a communal setting, right? We don't often think about it this way, but it seems to me that our understandings of things, our sense of who we are, all those things are really embedded deeply in the people we're around and the community we're with. And I think the opportunity to be in a group that has as its focal point exploring questions around identity and place and space and time and a set of things like that is really, it strikes me as a wonderful opportunity. So I think someone willing to take some risks, some chances with themselves and along with other people, and to think and to play.